Now let's talk about the mortgage rate dilemma that we're seeing right now, because mortgage rates are still very high. And Trump has promised lower mortgage rates. So the question is, what might be coming? Now, when I say mortgage rates are very high, I'm speaking in relative terms over the last 2 decades. If we take a look at the last 5 decades, the last 50 or so years, we'll see that 7% mortgage rates are really not that high in the grand scheme of things. But based off of what many of us know over the last 10 or 20 years, the 7% mortgage rate seems a whole lot higher. But here's what's interesting. The government, meaning Trump and the Trump administration, are not in charge of setting mortgage rates. Either is the Federal Reserve Bank. Your mortgage rate is ultimately set by your bank. But the thing that impacts how low your bank can charge for these mortgage rates depends on the Federal Reserve Bank and the interest rate that the Federal Reserve Bank sets. This is called the federal funds rate. And now the Federal Reserve Bank is saying that they're not too keen on cutting interest rates very aggressively in 2025 because they are concerned. They're concerned about inflation, they're concerned about the economy, they're concerned about tariffs. And because of those concerns, the Federal Reserve Bank does not want to cut interest rates right now, which could make it more difficult for your bank to bring mortgage rates down to 5 or 4 or 3%, because the Federal Reserve Bank doesn't want to cut interest rates that aggressively in 2025 based off of what we know today. On the flip side, the Trump administration has talked about bringing mortgage rates down drastically. During his campaign, Trump talked about bringing mortgage rates down to 3%. Is that going to be possible? Well, based off of the system that we have today and the information that we have today, it looks pretty difficult. But that doesn't mean that nothing is possible, because there's always what I call the X factor, which is something new that we don't know today. Maybe the government could create a potential government subsidy on people that want to buy a mortgage. Maybe the government could create some sort of new program to help people get lower mortgage rates. Will that happen? I have no idea. But this is something you have to think about, because as of now, mortgage rates don't look like they're going to be falling drastically in 2025, unless something changes with the X factor. So if mortgage rates stay high, well, that might not impact supply or demand, because, well, I think people are starting to get more used to the 7% mortgage rate.